Is Marvel Rivals 9? Honestly, I don't really like throwing that phrase around because honestly, that can be applied to almost anything, especially games nowadays. Because when they initially release, they usually have a large spike of players, and then they kind of dwindle down after the years. But Marvel Rivals, it seems like this game is honestly becoming more and more worse because the matchmaking is mainly because of the matchmaking, and it's mainly because of the matchmaking and the balance when it comes to certain heroes. When it comes to certain game mechanics, because nowadays it looks like they're just releasing more skins, and half of the skins they release end up just being like gooner stuff. But I'm gonna talk about first about the matchmaking. People, they say it isn't EMO based, but honestly it kind of really does behave like it's EMO based. Like half of the matches you get into aren't even fun because you either get throwers on your team or the people you go up against end up being throwers. So what it really ends up is just being a free match where you just get like 20 points and that's it. Like the enemy team is just throwing out of their mind. Like they have a like rarely do you ever get a match where the two opposite teams are actually fully balanced. Sometimes you do get them, but rarely do they ever come. Now the skins in this game honestly don't make any sense. They just keep releasing the same skins for Psylocke, Spider-Man, Luna Snow, and like or whoever gets the most skins out of this game. Because all that time and effort put into those skins can be put into other heroes like Ultron, Storm, any other character that barely has any legendary skins, they can be getting those skins instead. And most people are kind of fed up because like if you constantly main a certain hero, you're constantly neglected to the point where like why are you even playing this game if your hero isn't gonna get the fixes, isn't even gonna get some good skins, and isn't even gonna be looked at for like another season or so. Another thing is that most people end up suggesting that we add Roku to this game, and honestly, I think Roku will honestly do more damage than good. Not because Roku in itself is bad, but because honestly, if we only have like a limited amount of players in this game and it's already starting to have a decline, adding Roku would just make everything way worse in terms of just waiting for a game. Like if you were to add Roku, like if you were to add Roku right now, I think most people would just end up. I think most of the casual players or people that are just really dedicated to trying to get better at the game will probably appreciate it. But none of them, or almost all of them, would just still end up being the same rank. Everyone thinks that Roku needs to be added simply because you get throwers or you get people just rocking BDPSs or just no tank at all. But if that were the case and every team was balanced, we're having 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports, nobody in this game none of the games will actually like balance out. Like you'll end up probably still be hard stuck even more, and it would just make the queue times way longer than they are. I think another thing people face is probably like the team balancing when it comes to certain matches. And honestly, that's probably like the biggest one for me because you end up getting players in your team that aren't necessarily bad at the game, but they aren't necessarily good or they're evolving. Like what I'm trying to say is that none of them aggressively get any better at the game. They kind of follow this like arbitrary rule or arbitrary like set of rules to like get better at the game. Like if they see a certain lineup, they know how to counter it, but none of them have like the eye or like none of them have the eye spot when to counter, how to counter, and just do your own play style. Most of them follow the simple YouTube tutorial play styles they see. Like for example, like if you were to watch like an invisible woman like tutorial on how to get a GM or something, most of them like will tell you, oh, just play back, use your shield like this, give you some tips and tricks, and most of the time that can actually be really helpful. It comes to a point where like instead of like those like skills they teach you are just like tools. It's up to you to use them in the best ways possible. But most of these players don't do that. They honestly just believe that if they play a certain way, then no matter what, they're gonna get a rank. And sometimes if you end up playing that way, you do really end up playing better. But most of the times, those are just certain matches. Because certain matches, people are just playing like bots, and you can honestly just beat them if your technique is better at just following these rules. But if you're playing against people that are constantly aware and are not constantly adapting to the game at hand, then you're probably always gonna end up losing. And the reason why you don't want to get these players is because most of them have an ego, or most of them just end up being toxic. Especially for me, it seems like it's mostly supports that I have a problem with, but I think it applies to every role where they think like playing a certain way was gonna get them a certain rank, and now they don't take any blame because they honestly believe that the way they're playing is honestly the best way to play. So if you're playing a different way or you see a different playstyle, they honestly just look at you in the most dumbfounded way and believe that you're the reason why this team is losing. It gets worse because they honestly make or break that games half the time. Like yeah, they can have like good healing stats, they can have good finals, but most of the time when it comes to like moments where it matters, they end up folding. They end up not having the capabilities to adapt to the situation. Like their awareness is kind of like a zero at best. Like it's just really their awareness is just garbage. I think when it comes now, I think another thing that ruins this game for me is like the people partying up and playing together. Now there's nothing inherently wrong with people wanting to have friends and queue up together. But most of the times, if you're solo queuing and you run into a triple stack or a double or people queuing up together, most of the times they end up not paying attention to you simply because they believe their teammates that they're queued up with are need more priority than the randoms on their team. Which honestly, like if they want to do that, that's fine. But most of the time, it ends up being toxic and it ends up being more of a hindrance. For example, like an example would be like E-daters. Like if one is DPS and one is a support, they will prioritize healing dumb so much to the point that no one else gets used. And that's where really what I mean is like most of the times these matches aren't really that balanced. Like especially like the heroes they introduce, none of it is making it any better at all. I think one thing I did forget to mention was the hero changes, and honestly, that's kind of that. I think out of everything besides the matchmaking, besides the quality of matches, I think the hero balances is kind of what really makes. It's kind of really makes the game way worse than it actually is. Because certain heroes like Phoenix, Black Cat, Rose Gambit, and I don't even know. I think what's that one hero called? The one with the honestly I forgot, but I think it's Elsa Bloodstone, something like that. But yeah, them. It's every time they release these new heroes, they're always better than the OG roster. Like they always have every utility. They have everything covered for them. They have like movement, sustainability, a good ultimate. All of them reward you for playing good. And I think it's not. But some of the times that they add like simple mechanics to them that add way too much value. Like if you look at Black Panther, like his thing is just straight up like you just throw your spear and you dash to a point where no one can even perceive you half the time or most of the time. But if you look like Elsa Bloodstone, she's a good poke. She has good movement. She has good like sustain. She has like an overshield. She has like a trap that can snare you. Like most of this stuff is like, and you look at Black Panther, you'd be like, what? Like you see like the big difference between them is like one is literally has like limited amount of movement, while other one can just poke, have overshield, have an ability to keep you in place, has a good ultimate to CC you down. Like most of and like I'm not even talking about like the other heroes, but most of them just end up they're just way better than the OG roster because they have way more attention to the detail. And I think the main problem really comes, or what causes the problem, is that Marvel Rivals in itself is more really just a casual game at the end of the day. Like this game really wasn't made for like competitiveness in mind. Not because this game can't be taken serious, it's because it's really made for the casual player base. Like if anyone that knows Marvel, most of these people are just either read the comic books, watch the movies, or just like watch the TV shows. That's really to say that most of these people aren't like your tryhards, but most of them just live your basic lives. That's why this game is always dedicated to them. And right now they're having a problem where like what I believe is that most of these player bases that they release, most of the things they release honestly end up catering more to the both sides. Like they're playing both sides at the same time. They're trying to cater to like people that want balance and people that are just casual. And like if you know anything about playing both sides, that I think is not going to work at all. I think my suggestion would be, if they want to fix the game or make it more bearable, is literally like adjust like all the broken heroes that keep getting banned in every ranked match, like Black Cat, Phoenix, all these other heroes, because most of them end up just being too overpowered, or just like it just makes the game too boring to the point where like it's so predictable what heroes aren't gonna get banned, what comp you're gonna see, like, and if you don't ban them, like you end up just losing the game. The second would probably be the matchmaking. Honestly, just like I know there's probably like a hidden MMR in this game, but they need to remove that thing. Just give me whoever has the same rank as me, just put them in the same lobby. And if you see someone on a low level account on a high rank, honestly just put them with other Smurfs. Then the last thing I'll do was just like the skin distribution. Honestly, they gotta release more for certain heroes, especially the ones that haven't gotten a good skin in a while. I'm tired of using like no legendary skin on Ultron, and like that Adam Warlock legendary skin they released. Honestly, that thing is garbage. Like they could have done way better.